Hi everybody, if you can just let me know if you can hear me clearly, please. I'm just joining you in the comments. Okay, so you can hear and see me, that's great. So we'll give everybody a couple minutes to join us. So while we are waiting, I just want to say a very happy birthday to Martin. So Martin is the reason that we are all gathered here while we get to enjoy Cricut and everything that it has to offer. So if you would like to wish him happy birthday in the comments, please feel free. And then I also have another little special something I'd like to say. So we've come to the end of the school term for all the moms out there. Yay, holiday time. So I hope you're going to be making some exciting things with your kiddies. And there are two special little girls who I know always watch the lives in the background. So I just wanted to say a huge congratulations and well done to Emily and Tegan. You both did amazingly and you deserve big treats. So you have to tell your mom that she has to make you a treat holder like this. So I see everybody's joining. Hi everybody, lovely to see all the new faces and familiar faces. If you are new here, welcome. If it is your 100th time here, then welcome, Susie. We see you, we love you, we appreciate you joining us. So tonight we are going to be making a standing little treat holder. So it's a candy dome treat holder, and you're going to make this with a clear split bauble. So if you have some left over from Christmas, this is the perfect way to use them. So I'm going to show you how to design this from scratch and then obviously assemble it. You don't have to do an Easter one, so you can use the same concept to make any theme that you like. They're great for little centerpieces for tables. There's so many things that you could use it for. So there it is. Sorry, the camera's a bit weird, but it is super, super cute. So as always, this class is proudly sponsored by Logitech and Cricut, and let's get into it. So as always, I have shared this design on my profile. If making one from scratch feels too daunting for you, then you are welcome to make the one that I have shared, or you can use the one that I have shared to create your own one. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So if you want to do any of the projects that you see on the class, they will always have the little class visual, and that will make them easier for you to find. Okay, so we're just going to customize this. And as you can see, there is a notification on Design Space that says your tool's called, they're back on top. Find them in the toolbar right where they belong. So for everybody that found it a little bit confusing the other way, good news, it is back. Okay, so here's our design. It's really, really simple. So I'm going to show you how to do it for any size bauble. I'm using an 8 centimeter bauble. If you are using a 10 centimeter or a 6 centimeter, you will adjust your initial shape that you work with. So let's just hide these. What I'll do is I'm going to stick them on the side so they're out the way. And then we're going to start here. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to insert a circle, and this is going to be your bauble. So if you're working with a 6 centimeter bauble, then you're going to insert a 6 centimeter. If you're working with an 8 like I am, then you're obviously going to have 8 centimeters. Okay, so that is what we are going to base our whole design on, basically. So I just want to duplicate this so that I've always got one available to me. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a second one. And this one I'm going to make, I think 9.7. Let's go with 10 and see. Okay, so I'm just going to make it a different color so that you can see them on top of each other. So we're going to bring that to the front. We're going to align center horizontally and center vertically. And then we're going to slice that. Now I have to get used to the new layout again, the new old layout. Okay, so these we can just leave them there. This is going to be the little ring, if you will, that goes around the bauble. So then what you want to do is you want to insert a square. So what we're doing is we're going to slice this in half basically. So I need my square to be bigger than my circle. And then I need it to be half the size. So we're going to unlock it, and our height is going to be 4 centimeters. Is it 4? No, because this is 10. So we want this to be 5. We're then going to align that bottom, and then we're going to slice it. Okay, so this is the little ring that's going to go around our bauble. So obviously our bauble is only going to be half a circle. It's not going to be a full circle. So that's the ring that's going to go around the top, and then our design is going to sit on the top of that. So I want 2 of these as spaces. So those are just going to be little spaces that I'm going to stick in, and then I want an extra one for the design that's going on top. So I can move these away, and that's ready for our design. The next thing I'm going to do, so I can get rid of those, I've kept one aside. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert, did I want, yes, that one. So you can go with any sort of shape that you want at the bottom. So this is going to be the little frill that's at the bottom of the bauble. You don't have to go with this one. I've gone with like a scalloped circle. You can go with pretty much anything you want. So I made these pink. We're going to bring this to the front so that we can see it. And a lot of this I just did by eye. So I kind of just made it bigger or bigger and smaller until I was happy with it. So this one we're going to send to the back. That's going to be our bigger one, our bigger frill, if you will. I don't think that's what it's called. I was kind of going with like a flowery effect for it. Okay, so this one I do want a bit bigger. So what I'm also trying to do is I'm trying to envision what space I need when I put it together in the end. So I want to put a piece of EVA foam or double-sided foam tape in between the 2 layers. So if I look at the space between the little piece that comes in here and the middle of the circle, or where it's going to slice, that's not really big enough for me to actually put EVA in there and have it hidden. So I'm just going to make it a bit bigger, and then obviously make sure that this one sits bigger. We're going to take all, we're going to say align center horizontally, center vertically. That looks good. And then we're going to take them one by one and we're going to slice them. So we obviously don't need that. We do need that. So remember, you can only slice 2 layers at a time, which is why I had to do each of the layers with the black circle on their own. I just drag that up so you can see it, and that's going to be our base layer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to insert another circle, and another circle, and another circle. So lots of circles. So this one is going to be white, and this is going to be the piece that goes at the bottom of these, and that is actually going to have, well, it's going to close up the bottom of the bauble basically. So we can make that as big as we want, but obviously not bigger than the bottom frill. Okay, so that's going to go to the back, like so. And then with these circles, I'm actually going to create my little, what is it called? My perforated little tearing hole. I think that's what it's called. That's what I'm calling it. So I just want to make sure it is smaller than this. And this second one is just to create a little lip. So if you don't have a Cricut Maker, so I'm going to be using obviously the perforation blade. If you don't have that, I'll show you what you can do. So now we're going to just weld both of these. and that's going to give us the shape that we want with the little tab at the top. I'll kind of place it where I want, and I'm going to change that to perforate. Where's my perforate? There it is. And you can see it gives you a perfect little perforated circle. So if you don't have the perforation blade, tip blade, what you can do is you can go into images, you can search for perforated circle, and you can see there's a whole bunch here. So these will actually be basic cuts. So what it's going to do is it's going to cut around each of these. It does take a little bit longer, but it's fine, it can still work. Okay, so we have our perforated piece in there, and now what we have to do, oopsie, we have to attach that to the circle. Remember, if I don't attach it, then I'm going to have the perforated on one mat and I'm going to have the circle on another mat. So I have to attach it so that both functions can work together on the same mat. We're just going to send that to the back again just so that it looks visually pleasing. And now we are going to create our actual design. So everything that I've done up until now, you would basically do exactly the same. Obviously, change the flowery look if you want to, and then this part you would insert your own design and then obviously follow the steps. So I went with this really cute little bunny. It wasn't that one. He did not have an egg. I mean, he didn't have flowers. He had an egg. Of course he had an egg. So let's look for cute Easter bunny. Remember, if I'm going too fast or you have any questions, you're more than welcome to pop them in the comments. If I don't get to it, then one of the lovely admins definitely will. We do try and answer all of the questions that come up. So please feel free. There are no bad questions. Okay, so for this part, I kind of went by eye. You don't want it to be too much bigger than it, so you don't want something that's super tall. It could work, I guess. So yeah, go wild. It's completely up to you. I went by eye with this, and you can do the same. So with this bunny, I'm just gonna duplicate it so I can take it apart and you can see. So I'm just gonna ungroup it and I'm gonna start taking it apart so that you can see. Okay. So with this bunny, if you look at the white part, you can see that it's got a lot of these tiny little lines that run through it. And what's going to happen then is obviously if you are cutting cardstock, that is going to be very difficult to cut. So I actually had to amend this design a little bit. And to do that, I took the black part, I said contour, hide all contours, and I made it solid. Then what I did is for the white part, I said contour again, and then I said hard. So this one I want to duplicate. I think it's this one, or is it the little egg? Let's duplicate this one and group it. Oopsie, Control Z. I want this part. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to contour, and this takes a little bit of thought process. It's not something that I think ever comes naturally to any of us. So if it's something that you battle with, don't feel bad. Just try and try again. I had a few different images that I actually tried with, and I eventually settled on this one because I could get it right. So what we want to do is we want to offset this. So I'm going with a very small offset. So what I'm doing with the offset is I want to close up these lines in the middle so that I have a solid egg, so that when it cuts, it's a solid egg. It's not an egg that has lines running through it. So I'm just going to go with a really small offset, 0.05. Let's have a look. And that looks pretty decent. So you can see now this is solid and it's going to cut solid. It's not going to cut with little lines running through it. So then what I did is I took the white and the offset. So we're going to duplicate that again. So now I'm going to take the white and the offset and I'm going to slice that. Oopsie, wrong one. Is it? It was the wrong one. Make sure you've got the right offset. So again, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get rid of these little white lines in the egg. I don't want that. I want to be able to have a solid egg. So now that I've made this egg solid, what I can do is I can actually offset it again, and I can reverse the offset that I created. I know it seems a little bit confusing, but that's just going to bring my size back to what it should be. That's going to go in there. That's going to get deleted. This is going to become white. And we're going to send that back. And now you can see I have a perfect Easter egg that I can cut as a solid piece. It's not going to have lots of little lines running through it. And then obviously with the pink part, I'm going to be doing that in vinyl. So that's another thing I like to do, is I like to look at how small the pieces are and then decide, am I going to do it with cardstock or am I going to do it with vinyl? So there's no rule that says it has to all be cardstock or it has to all be vinyl. You can mix it if you want to. So we're just going to group this again so it's easier for us. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay, now we're going to give it an offset. So effects, we're going to offset that, and we're going to go with 0.2. So this offset is going to be my glitter layer, and I want it to be quite pronounced, if you will. So that's going to be white. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that this is kind of where you want it. And then you're going to take that and your offset, and you're going to weld that. So now what we have is we have our bottom layer, we have our two spacer pieces that are going to go inside here, and we have our first side done. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to duplicate this, and then we're going to flip it. So remember, because it's going on the back, it needs to be the opposite way to the one that's going to be on the front. So you're going to flip that horizontal, and there you have it. That is literally how easy your entire design is. Very, very easy. So you can see I've got it here. So the only thing I did different is I changed this to gray, and the reason I changed it to gray is because I wanted to cut on glitter cardstock. I don't want it to be plain white cardstock. So that's going to be white cardstock, that's going to be white cardstock, and the little pieces for our bunny are going to be white cardstock, and then this is going to be the glitter cardstock. The word's starting to sound funny now. Okay, so I'm going to delete this, and the reason I'm going to delete it is because I've already cut one of the bunnies, just to try and stay on track with the class. So I've already cut one of the bunnies, and obviously I didn't go exactly to size, so I don't want to risk cutting one of these and then it doesn't fit. So we're going to cut the ones that I already have here. There it is there. And the bunny that I already have cut is this guy. So I'm just going to delete him out of here. Is it him? Yes, it's him. We hope it's him. Otherwise we will have to come back and redo it. Okay, so you can see it's all the exact same pieces. Maybe the sizing's a little bit different because again I just winged it. So what I did with this one, and this is something you can do if you want to, I found it to be a little bit unnecessary after the fact. So if you want to stick your bauble onto here before you put the rings on, you can actually attach a line with pen. So that will be drawn with pen, and that's going to show you more or less where your bauble needs to go. If you're going to stick these onto the bottom and then put your bauble in, then you obviously don't need this. So I think that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to get rid of that, and we're good to go. Hello everybody that is just joining. So if you missed it, we've just done the design. You can go back and watch it on the Cricut South Africa YouTube channel. It will be under the live tab. So don't worry if you missed anything. We are now moving on to cutting, and then we will assemble our little treat holder. And this is actually the perfect treat holder or the perfect design for the current challenge, the bingo. I know how much we all love these long challenges, so there's a good idea if you haven't started on it yet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror this. So remember, whenever I'm working with a thinner cardstock, I like to mirror it. So with the glitter, I will keep it face up. So these are going to be glitter. I will keep that face up. This is going to be AC cardstock. I will mirror that. This is going to be glitter cardstock. So I will leave that as is. And I've just got to make sure it is smaller than an A4 page. So what you can also do is you can actually change it here to A4. Just to make sure that you have the right sizing. And there we are, A4. And then this is going to be vinyl, so that's obviously going to stay as it is. So for our AC, I'm going to be using medium cardstock. And then for my glitter cardstock, I'm going to be using glitter cardstock, the settings. And then for our shimmer vinyl, I'm going to be using the Smart Shimmer Vinyl setting, and I like to do that on extra pressure because it is quite a thick cardstock. Okay, so let's just stick that there. Okay, so again, I'm using AC cardstock. So one thing I would suggest is if you are using vinyl on cardstock, so you'll see I've got two different types of cardstock here. They are both AC. This is a smooth cardstock. I don't know if you can see that. That's completely smooth. I'm also not sure why my light's doing that. And then this is a textured cardstock. Again, don't know if you can see that. So what I would suggest is if you are using transfer tape, so if you're going to be applying vinyl onto your cardstock, you want to use a textured cardstock. And the reason for that is with your smooth cardstock, you have a higher chance of it tearing. So just a piece of advice. Okay, so this is a brand new mat, so I'm just going to gently tap it down. I don't want to stick it down too much. Yeah. Okay. So we are loading our perforation blade, which is part of the quick swap housing set. There it is there, and that's going into clamp B. So if you were using, I don't know, a Cricut Joy or a Joy Xtra, or Explore, you would not be doing this step because you would be using the other perforated circle. Okay. So last year, I think, yes, last year this time, we actually created a flat candy dome. And it's more or less the same concept, so obviously the only difference is your circle would be through your design, you wouldn't be creating the design over it. So I did create this little candy dome card, which I think is super cute. I will be posting it on the group with the actual design, obviously not with Bluey because that is copyrighted, but I thought that was super cute, a little candy dome card. So there's a lot that you can do with it as long as you have the basics. So the machine stopped and is asking me for the fine point blade. So I'm just going to swap that over. And we're going to wait for that to cut. So in terms of glue, you're going to be using a liquid glue, so whatever glue you prefer to use. I prefer to use Jewel Bond, as I'm sure we all know by now. You're also then going to be using a double-sided foam tape or EVA foam with your die cut and bond, or you can even use Jewel Bond with EVA foam. That works too, so it's completely up to you. What I would suggest is if you're using using EVA. So this is what I had available, already pre-stuck. I had blue, which obviously you can kind of see that. So I don't know if you can see it on camera, but you can kind of see it in there. So yeah, you can see it in there. So I would suggest using, if you've got a white cardstock, use a white EVA. If you've got a blue cardstock, use blue, etc. Okay, so remember, especially when your mat is super sticky like this, you want to roll your cardstock, you want to roll your mat away from your cardstock, not the other way around. And this one's super sticky. It's making me nervous. Oh no, we don't want to rip his arm off. Oh no. I love a new mat, but a new mat makes me super nervous. Super nervous. Okay, so now we just need to very gently get these off. So this one is going to be our middle piece. That's okay if it's a little bit bent. We want to keep these. So if you have a brayer, an applicator and remover set, you would have got these cool tweezers, and these are actually to help you remove pieces from the mat. So again, I am bending the mat and I'm kind of just getting it off. So you will notice there's a tiny little piece for the ear here. I didn't worry about it, to be honest. And then there's a tiny little piece here by his leg. I also didn't worry about it. I just left them off. 90% of the time you're the only person who's going to know that that piece should have been there, and it's such a small piece that it doesn't do anything major for the design. The other thing is his teeny tiny little eyeballs. I left them out completely. If you wanted to add it in, what I would suggest doing is add it in with, if you have the Cricut, what do you call them? The opaque pens. So they like those milky pens. If you have those, then I would suggest adding it in with that. So who is going to Hobby X? I'm seeing a lot of excitement. Us Durbanites are a little bit jealous. I would love to know who's going. I see there was an announcement that Cricut is looking for some people to join in the fun and help demo the machines. It is always loads of fun. You get to meet the most incredible people, and you get to do it while doing something that you love. So if you are in the area, if you have the expertise, I would definitely suggest, what do we say, signing up? I think we say that. Okay, so next we're going to be doing the black piece, and that's also going to be on medium cardstock. So what I'm doing is, because I have these cut on mirror, then I'm putting the super textured side down onto the mat. And again, sorry, and again, brand new mat, so I'm not pressing it down too much because I want to be able to get it off my mat. Okay, so I have my candy dome, my half split bauble here, ready to go, and I'm actually going to cut this ring off using my scissors. So you will notice that there's like a little hang, there it is. So I'm just going to cut that off. And it is quite violent, so keep it away from your face. Okay, so I just cut it off with my scissors. And obviously cut it as close as you can without cracking your bauble completely. There it is, ready to go. We're going to unload that. If you are cutting a new material, obviously don't just unload it like I do. You're going to want to test your cut first to see if it's cut through. I know that these materials cut because I have already cut them. So what I like to do is I like to cut off the piece that I've used, and then that will go into my scrap box, and then I have cardstock to use another time, because we cannot afford to waste in this economy. So this is the glitter cardstock that I'm using. It's absolutely stunning. It's almost smooth. This is Couture Creations glitter cardstock, and I love it. So we're going to look for glitter. Oopsie, it wants the pink one. That's fine. Glitter cardstock. Okay, it wants that pink one first. This one is also Couture Creations. Oopsie, that's a bit skew. And you can see my mat is a little bit bent from how I was storing it. This one I am pressing down a bit harder because it is a glitter cardstock. It is going to cut on a much higher pressure and I don't want it moving. See, Raksha says that we are also jealous in Cape Town. We should have our own online class / get together during that time so that we can be there for each other during this difficult period. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start, I just want to make sure that I did, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start placing these so that I sort of know more or less where it has to go before I start sticking. And one of the things that helps me know where it goes is on your textured cardstock, you've got one side that's a little smoother and one side that's more textured. So I know that I cut it with my textured side being the front side. It makes it easier for me to place everything. Okay. Oh, that was aggressive. So we will have our own online event. It'll be BYOS, bring your own snacks. Okay, so there we have our middle pieces, bottom pieces. These are bottom pieces. Okay, I'm just getting rid of my scraps, or keeping my scraps if you will. And what you can do is if you want to keep this, you can, and you can even stick it underneath if that is what you want to do. Oopsie, there we are. And then we want this one, and that's also going to be glitter cardstock. So has anybody ever made these standing candy domes before? This was actually my first time making it. I've been seeing them and I really wanted to make it, so I thought it might be fun to try. And I think it's going to be something that I make a lot of. I think they'll be great for birthdays with little themed characters. Use them as centerpieces. I see Caroline says BYOS sounds good. Where do we get tickets? So it is a free event. I don't know. I feel like maybe you should just bring snacks for me too. I feel like that should be the entry fee. I love how I'm just organizing my own event with absolutely zero qualifications to do such a thing. Okay, so there's our little guy, and if you look over here, you will see that's the tiniest little piece that I left off, and honestly, it's not going to make a difference. No one will even notice, so he's staying off. Clarissa, so you can find these stones by Googling split bauble. So they are mainly for Christmas. They're called split baubles. I did find some at our local China mall, but you can find them online at quite a few different places. So you can just Google, see which one works for you. So obviously keeping in mind that it is a Cricut page, so we do only recommend Cricut branded products, and there is a reason for that other than just our love for Cricut. If something doesn't go to plan, we obviously don't want our name behind that. So I would suggest doing your research, see what which retailer, let's say it like that, which retailer or business you would like to support. I see Kim said she hasn't made one, but she feels a challenge coming. I feel like she missed the first 5 minutes of the class where I specifically said that someone's mom needs to make these for the girls. So I feel like the challenge is already there. Okay, so we're doing Smart Vinyl Shimmer Matteless Permanent. So this is Cricut Smart, well, it's actually Cricut Permanent Shimmer Vinyl. I'm using the Smart Vinyl Shimmer Matteless Permanent Vinyl setting. That was a tongue twister. So if you have not seen it yet, www.secretsale.co.za, they have amazing deals. So delivery does take up to 14 days. It doesn't mean it is going to be 14 days, but it's up to 14 days. Some people have got their orders in 3 days, but I promise you the prices are absolutely worth it. They have such amazing deals. I saw today that they have Easter boxes, Easter treat boxes. There's no treats though, guys. The treats is Cricut stuff, just disclaimer. But you do get a limited edition gold cutie pin, which is pretty cool. So if you haven't checked them out, you definitely should. www.secretsale.co.za. So if you do get little pieces that are sort of, what do you call it, hanging on, you can just kind of grab them with your tweezers and pull them off. Yeah, so as Margaret said, they are transparent baubles, so there should be another piece that goes on, and that's going to make the full bauble. Here is my other piece here, so that's what it would look like, essentially. I did have some, I don't know what I've done with them though, so unfortunately I can't show you what it looks like all together. Okay, so we've got everything ready to start assembling. Very exciting. Let me plug in my glue gun. Oh, I always get PTSD when I touch my plug and my machine stops cutting, but it was done. Okay, so we're gonna take that out and we are done with our cutting. So now we're going to start assembling everything, and I think that's the fun part. Yes, everything's done. Okay, so I did promise a really cool transferring and weeding hack, and I'm like super impressed with this one. So if you do not have, let me just make sure I'm not cutting anything off that I need. If you do not have the large scraper, you need it in your life for multiple reasons. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrape it down, and then I'm going to start weeding from this way. So if you have worked with shimmer vinyl before, you will know that it is an absolute nightmare to transfer. Now the trick here is that you should be using strong grip tape, but because I'm applying it to cardstock, I am not using strong grip. I'm going to be using standard grip. So standard grip to transfer shimmer vinyl is usually quite difficult, but I'm going to show you how easy it is. So what I'm doing is I'm applying pressure here. So this little guy at the bottom, he always gives me issues. So I'm applying pressure and I'm sliding it on my scraper like so, and you can see how cool is that. I don't think I'm ever going to do this another way ever again. And I was today years old. Okay, I was a week ago years old. So I do have a little piece in there that I'm just keeping track of, and ta-da! It's all weeded. How cool is that? Okay, so I'm just going to get my tiny piece here all the way at the bottom, and I'm just going to stick him back. There he is. And he goes there. So I know everyone's thinking, okay, but you know, weeding's usually not that hard. But watch the transferring. Watch. It's really cool. Okay, so I'm using standard grip again. Let's see. Now what I want to do is I just want to transfer this egg piece using the transfer tape, and I'm going to use my tweezers to transfer that. So around here we don't gatekeep. When I find out something cool, I'm like, I have to tell you all in my next class. Because when one of us wins, we all win. So I'm very excited to share these tricks. Okay, so again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to apply transfer tape. And this is great if you battle with the rolling method. So obviously the rolling method is when you roll it back on itself. So if you battle with this, this is actually a little bit easier. So we just want to scrape this down. And I should have made sure that the transfer tape was smaller because that makes it easier. Oopsie. Getting transfer tape everywhere. It's a little bit hot in Durban tonight. I'm just cutting it down so that it doesn't get stuck on my scraper. Okay, so that we will do just now. So we're just going to grab a little corner piece like so, and we're going to do the same thing. So it does help when it's a little bit bigger because then you can slide better. And we're just going to, so you can see I'm battling to slide because it's not as big as I'd like. But how cool is that? There it is, transferred. That is shimmer onto standard grip tape, which is usually quite difficult. We're now going to apply that onto our little egg. I'm lining it up as best as I can. There it is there. So with the egg, I can press down everywhere because there's more vinyl than there is cardstock. So the little pieces in the middle, can we see it? There we are. The little pieces in the middle, the transfer tape's not actually going to touch it. So what you would do is if you were applying just like a little piece, you would only press down where your vinyl is obviously not over the whole thing, because you want to try and keep your transfer tape away from your cardstock. Okay, I see Kamal has joined us. You are unfortunately late. We've already eaten all of the snackies. So now we're just going to stick all of our little pieces down, and for that I am going to use my little tweezers because it makes it a bit easier for me to see. Oopsie. And I'm just going to go around and stick all of these. So obviously depending what design you do, that's going to depend how you stick, what you use. You can use iron-on even on cardstock. You can do foiling if you want. You can even paint it if you want to. It's completely up to you. So now we're going to apply these, and these I'm just going to apply by hand or by tweezer because they're big pieces and it's very easy to apply without getting bubbles. So we're just lining that up nicely. Make sure our little ears are out the way. And then this is for the other ear. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of making sure that there's the same distance or the same spacing so that we can see a little bit of black between the ears. That one I did go over a bit, but it's completely fine. It's fine. Okay, we're almost at the super fun part. I don't know if that's convincing. Okay. So the reason I place everything is just to make sure that I've got all of my spacing right, and I'm not going to have sections that are showing more of the black than the other sections, because obviously then it's going to look a little funny. So you just want to make sure your spacing is correct. I need to refill my glue, but I've stuck the glue lid on, so I can't. Okay, almost there. Mm. Kamal, don't eat the biscuit that they're about to pass you. It's the one that Kim was trying to eat and it fell on the floor. I got your back, don't worry. Okay, 2 more pieces and some cheeks, and then we can get to assembling the rest of our baubles. Bauble. And there we have our cutest little bunny. So I just need to put his little cheekies in. So what I did is I left the holes for the cheeks, and I'm just going to slot these in. You can obviously close the holes so you can contour them out, and you can apply your stickers on top if that's what you want to do. It's completely up to you. There we are. So I love that it gives like a little bit of definition. I don't know if you can see it, but like it's not on top, if that makes sense. I think it does. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start assembling this. Okay, so I have my other bunny there, exactly the same. I just saved you the joy of watching me assemble him. He's going to go on there, he's going to go on there. Let me just get rid of this. Okay, so I wanted to have some, again, definition. I think I say that a lot. So I stuck this on with double-sided tape. And again, try and use a color that matches the cardstock that you're using. So in this case, I should have done white, but here we are. We're doing black. I mean blue. We're doing blue. So Mamta says the bunny is so cute. I've actually used this bunny before. I think I used it for Easter treat boxes last year. It's one of my absolute favorites, and you obviously saw there is one with a little flower crown, or what's it called? It is called a flower crown. Very, very cute. Okay, so we're just going to line that up nicely. And there we have it. And then we're going to do the same for this one. So for those who just joined, like Kamal, we are making a standing candy dome treat holder, and we have designed it together. I'm busy assembling it. We're almost done. If you have missed anything, you can always go back and watch it on the Cricut South Africa YouTube channel. It will be under the live tab. All of our past live classes are there, so it's a great place for beginners or even more advanced users who are battling with any topics. Everything is there, and we have these classes every Thursday night. So if it's your first time joining, we would love to see you in the next one. And every class is obviously different. We do different topics, different projects, different skill levels. There we are. So we have those. So now what we're going to do is we are going to stick these together. So what I want to do for this is I want to have some double-sided tape, and that is going to allow me to add some hot glue, and you're not going to see it. I should have used white though again, because you probably will see the blue. So please use white, not blue. So I have to ask, how many people are on TikTok and Instagram? So we always do our classes on Facebook, because Facebook has always been sort of the primary place for people, but I see TikTok and Instagram are heating up. Who likes to watch lives on those platforms? So Jackie says she really wants to learn how to emboss and deboss. Are there videos on the YouTube channel about that? There actually is. You are in luck. So Soraya did a class where she showed how to emboss on your Cricut machine using the debossing tool. So yes, there are different things, but it was actually a really, really nice class. I think it was Easter last year that she did it, and it turned out really great. So yes, that is there. I think we've also done other classes where we have used the tool, but it is one of those things that does take a little bit longer, so it is one of the crafts that we kind of shy away from. Sorry, I'm just looking for my water. It's super hot in Durban. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this on to here. Oopsie, I almost put it on the front. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit. So I should be using more than this, but I don't want to grab more right now. So I'm just making do with what I have. So I'm just going to stick a little bit of this here. So again, some of these steps are optional. So the reason I am creating the spacing in between is to accommodate the spacing that's going to be happening here at the bottom. Okay. So again, just line everything up nicely. You don't want it to be sort of all over the place, so we just want to line up the bottom like that. Make sure it's lined up there, and then you can just use your fingers to kind of feel that everything's lined up here. There we are, that looks perfect. Let me get rid of these, it's very distracting. Oopsie, I stuck to my finger. Okay, so I'm going to line it up at the bottom before I let go on top. Just make sure everything's lined up nicely, because you want that nice and lined up. There we are, stick that down nicely, and there you have it. So if you look at the bottom, you can see that I've got like a little gap here. It's a tiny little gap, but it's a gap nonetheless, and that's going to help me hide the hot glue in there. So that is ready to stick. Now we're going to assemble the bottom part. So you can do it two ways. You can fill it and stick it first, and then you can apply these, or you can apply them and then you can fit it into the hole. It's completely up to you. So I just want my glue gun's definitely on. I am not using treats at the moment. What I'm using is foam balls, because contrary to popular belief, I actually don't really like treats, to be honest. I like ice cream. Okay. Polystyrene. Oh, sorry, someone's got a terrible car. Or bike, I think that's a bike. Oopsie. Oh man, I didn't want that to happen. So one time I was busy filling a cake topper with the smaller smaller polystyrene balls, and the fan was blowing at me, and as I was pouring it, so I was pouring it like this, they were literally just, they weren't even touching the cake topper, they were just all over the floor. So I'm very wary with them now. Okay, so I've filled it a lot, so you do want it to be quite in there, otherwise what's going to happen is when you turn it over, you're just going to see straight through it, it's going to look horrible. So what we're going to do is we are going to use our glue gun. Just make sure, yep, that's good. And what you want to try to do is you want to try to turn this instead of going around with your glue gun. So you're going to be putting hot glue on the rim. And you don't need a huge amount, because obviously you don't want to get it all over the sweeties. Oopsie. Like I just did. I just got it on my sweeties. Okay, make sure you don't get, what are these things called? We're going to stick this on like that. Stick it down. Mine's a bit skew, but that's fine. Completely fine. Okay, great. Now I'm just going to cut some foam tape, and this is going to go around the rim, like so. So Mum has asked who ate the sweeties for the baubles, and the truth is that I was actually relying on Kamal to bring the sweeties, but he arrived empty-handed, so we don't have any sweeties, unfortunately. Okay, so I was supposed to obviously put these on first and then stick the bauble in, and that's why we didn't do the circle, and that's why my thing skew. That's my excuse, I'm sticking to it. So if you're going to do it this way and you're like me, then you can add in the extra step where you had the pen draw the circle, and that's going to help you to know where to stick it. Okay. First one. So I just want to test and see. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add our second layer. So for this one, actually, because this is smaller, I would suggest putting it directly onto here, like so. And then you know it's not going around at the edge of your circle, your frillies. So I'm seeing everybody saying they love Facebook Live classes. Well, good for you, or good news for you. We're here to stay. We are here to stay. And again, I know I keep saying this, but I know it's very distracting to see the blue on the white. So when you are doing yours, definitely use white EVA or um, just normal double-sided foam tape squares. What you can even do is if you've got a pink circle, use pink EVA. It's completely up to you. So there is our bottom piece. Very cute. I mean, you could even have it like that. You could have it as a little flower. Very, very cute. Now we are going to stick this part down. So you can see that after I've added both of my layers, it's slightly big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip this down. So what I would suggest is do not snip it down until you get to this point. Then you can gauge how much you need to snip it down. So I'm just taking literally like a couple millimeters off. It's a tiny amount. You just want it kind of resting on there. And that looks good. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put glue in here. And you don't want to put too much because then it's going to smush out. Oopsie, like that. Oopsie, again. Oopsie, I keep oopsieing. Oopsie. Oopsie. And then just a little bit on the bottom. Don't worry too much about your glue strings. You can clean those afterwards. And then you kind of want to make sure that you are in the center. So I do that by turning it sideways and stick it down. And you're just going to hold it for a couple seconds. Just to let it dry there. And then what you can do is if you're like me and you oopsie all the time, you can go with your tweezers and you can just pick your little glue strings, etc. off. But there it is. Very cute. All done. So here is the first one and there is the second one, and they are super cute. And then when they're ready to be eaten, the kids can, sorry, I don't know why it's not focusing, but the kids can obviously open it there. So there's a little what do you call that thing? That thing. It's there. So I hope you enjoyed this class. I hope that I'm going to see a lot of these super cute candy holders all over Facebook in the coming weeks. Again, they are absolutely perfect for the current challenge. We have the bingo challenge. I don't know how many projects in total, but it's a lot. And you don't have to do all of them. So even if you just want to do one, do it. It is loads of fun. It gets you out of your comfort zone. You get to test your machine or push the limits with your machine and see what you're capable of, because I have seen absolute beginners who had zero confidence create the most amazing things with Cricut. So give yourself a chance. I'm sure you will be nicely surprised. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do enjoy spending this time with you all, and I can't wait to do it again soon.